Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
setting sun, but I'll never run. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I will stay and fight as long as I'm alive. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. Hell's at my door. I'm a shadow of the man I was before. I'm a dead man walking. Before I die, I'll take every soul I can into the night and kill till I die. And kill till I die.
The Madness Comic Network and Comic Related Madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Well, hello and happy Tuesday. It is time for the Tuesday Morning Brew. I hope you have your coffee and you're ready. We've got some great guests lined up for today, and I can't wait to pick their brains about their story, London Gothic. Dun, 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 dun. I wanted to give y'all an update real quick about Path of the Pale Rider. Oh, good morning, Dawn. How are you? Hello. I wanted to give you all an update just to let you know where we are. We are currently sitting at 106% after 1 week. I'm looking for that backer number 69, giggity. That's kind of like bragging rights right there. So go grab that. Things are looking really good. I had someone actually brave enough to go grab the super secret. I was so excited. I get to make one of these. It's very exciting. Also, if you haven't seen Marco DeFillo's A cover, which is now in color, like he always outdoes himself. I'm just so amazed at how he can capture the essence of what's going to. I'm sorry, Siri interrupted me. I'm always so impressed about how he can capture the essence of what's happening in the issue in one image. I don't know how he does that, but he always does. And this is a new coloring technique for him. And wow, just wow. I also love how he threw in there a burger bag that says Big James Burgers. That's his sense of humor coming through. So it's a good time. So, of course, we have all the other beautiful covers still available. We released the William Russell, the Not Suitable for a Work cover. Woo! She'll kill ya. Here's a little bit more about the t-shirts. Marta Gasparoni is currently coloring these pages, and then I will release what the letters look like as well. Don't forget to pick up your Angelo Aquino cover. Beautiful rider cover. Here they are, and we got one more coming. Going to be released any day now. It's just fine-tuning it, but this is going to be by image comic artist David Sanchez. He has some really amazing photorealistic covers, so I'm looking forward to that. So very cool. And again, we're on to our stretch goals, people. This is the next one we're going to unlock. Well, the first one where everybody gets 8 more comics. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. So we're less than $200 from hitting that, and then we'll move on to some prints. We got some beautiful stuff. Don't forget, at 6,000, I'm going to slice and dice. I'm going to probably dress up as Pikachu or Machete, pick one. And I'm going to smash the heck out of something or stab it with some swords. You guys get to decide. So we have lots more things to unlock and plenty of time to do it. So come along with me. I know I always scroll too fast and make everybody seasick, but it's good times, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how far we can go. Let's go, right? Let's go. So excited. All right, enough about me. I don't know why Siri just wants to talk to me today. Anyway, let me stop that screen. I'm going to bring in our guests. Oh, good morning. Look, it's William Russell. Hey, yo, who did that beautiful redheaded, I don't know what we should call her, siren, undead siren. She's hot, but it's going to be a bad day afterwards. I'll just say that much. Anyway, introducing Nick and Mike from London Gothic. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Well, morning for me, afternoon for you gents, right?
Yeah, nearly bedtime.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you don't go
Well,
to
not for me.
I can see the sun shining behind you, Nick. So if you go to bed when the sun is shining, wow.
I jump in there while the interview's on.
Right.
You know, time for bed.
Right. And now time for bed. Good morning.
Thanks for having us on, Laurie.
What's that?
Thank you for having us on.
Oh, absolutely. I've always, we play your commercial all the time. In fact, your song gets stuck in my head whenever I push play and I hear it. I'm just like, London Gothic. You know what I mean? I don't even have to watch it anymore. It just plays in my head because it's such a cool commercial. So it's nice to finally like connect with some of the people I've been seeing your work and just haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about it. So I'm glad that we're finally able to do that. Yeah.
You say that now, but you won't ever have us on again after.
That's not true. That's not true. We're gonna have fun today, and I'm sure everybody's dying to hear about your story. That just so everybody knows, London Gothic is also currently campaigning on Kickstarter. We will get to that page and walk you around it so you guys can see what your options are. But I want to show you some of this art. Here, let me scroll up to the right place before I put it on the page, because that would be terrible to be like, spoiler. I promise I won't spoil anything.
You go for it.
Yeah, whilst we were looking at your campaign, I thought that's a really good incentive. I think for one of our stretch goals, we should have you, Nick, dress up as Pikachu and smash something.
I totally will. I love smashing.
I'd pay for that.
Oh, I'm right up there.
I just love stabbing things and smashing things. So that's one of the cool things about that goal is I have, 3 machetes. Well, they're not all. One's a machete, and the other 2 are like fancy long swords, right? And I also have a sledgehammer, so people will just have a chance to vote on what they would like me to destroy. So it's slice and dice. It is. It's so much fun.
Hey,
Good morning,
Carissa.
Carissa, bestie, and Keith. Hello. Good morning.
Right, Keith.
What's that?
I said hello, Keith.
Hello, Keith. The only problem is with the sledgehammer is that you got to get something that will actually smash, because it just goes like right into the fruit. It doesn't like explode it like I want it to.
Yeah.
I want it to just go everywhere. So I have to figure that out.
Dynamite.
Dynamite. I don't know if my HOA will allow me to blow up a watermelon.
I mean, you live in Texas, don't you?
We do.
You
I
get that
know. You would think that
corner store, don't you?
Texas blow everything up, but I'm pretty sure the HOA would frown upon that. Trust me. We actually aren't allowed to light our own fireworks.
No, really?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Texas are you?
What's that?
Whereabouts in Texas?
We're like an hour north of Dallas.
Oh, I've been to Dallas.
Yeah, it's nice
Like
there.
Dallas. It's smaller than I expected. It's
city?
like the built up area, like the sort of where all the big buildings are and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not that large, is it? But
right. There's a lot of people in the like Keith is from Texas as well. So yes, we do have. No, they are from across the pond.
No, Keith, we're not putting this accent on.
They just
if we were going to pick an accent, it wouldn't be this
drink
one.
More coffee, Keith, and wake your ears up. No, they're actually from across the pond. And you're right, Texas is not as Texas as people think. In some places, I think it is, but I think it's more south. Like closer to the border, you get all like the big hats and the big boots and people riding horses. But Dallas, we're pretty North Texas, so you don't get that as much.
No J.R. Ewins. No J.R. Ewins.
Nope. So you guys are the writer and artist team, correct, for London Gothic?
That's right, yeah.
Who does what? Just I know, but who,
Well,
let
I'm
the
the
viewers
writer
know.
writer and creator of it.
Yes.
And I am the artist. Well,
Beautiful.
for all the internal work, so I do the penciling, the inks, the colouring, and the lettering. And then we generally have
He does the
guest.
easy stuff.
Yeah,
Easy stuff.
yeah, the easy stuff. Yeah.
Nick, I know you're being funny because we both know that's difficult. My property taxes say it's not all that, Texas. Yeah, I feel you, man. There's been a lot of change in that aspect in the last couple years, so fun times. But anyway, that's amazing that you do everything, and it's 80 some odd pages. I think it was
the
90.
first one's 88 pages. Yeah. I do all those things, but to varying degrees of skill.
How long does it normally take you guys to produce one graphic novel?
It's about 12 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
12 months.
Yeah.
Each one. So we've got a 4-year span on these because there's 4 chapters.
Wow.
And then at the end of it, it's going to be a whopper.
Yeah.
How many pages?
Oh, there must be. I think probably there's going to be close to 500
altogether for the four chapters. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a monster. It just kept growing and growing, and every one got longer and longer.
Well, initially it was conceived as just pencils and inks, because obviously there's a lot of story to tell. There's a lot of characters and things, and but then when we started doing the character designs and I started to do them in color, it just seemed like as though the story was so rich that it just deserved to be in color. So we thought, oh, we'll just take the hit. It's going to take longer. It's going to be a huge tome of a book, but it's just what it needed. So
I 100% understand. Our issue 1 was in black and white, but we were looking at it, we were like, it would be so much cooler in color. And then when we produced issue 2 in color, we were like, exactly, it's exactly what it needed. It just is a huge difference, depending on the story, exactly what it deserves. And I can 100% agree with you that your story in color, I haven't seen it in black and white, but I mean, I couldn't imagine it in black and white having seen it in color. I'm sure it would be superior. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Can I show everybody what we're going to show? I'm not going to scroll too far, people. So if you're interested in this, you still got to go get it. Because I'm not going to show you everything, but I mean, look at this cover. Says a whole lot right there. What are we getting ourselves into, people? We got some supernatural. We have some definitely religious iconograph. I can't say that word. Religious icons on a painting. Iconography. I quit.
Iconography.
Thank you.
Iconography. You're making me say it wrong now.
I'll just say it wrong. But just if anybody is an art student, you always go through art history, and we always look at these Renaissance paintings and how like the church influenced so much. And this was very reminiscent to me of art history, looking at these paintings and trying to decipher the meaning behind it. And then the artist is usually painting a subject and then putting in their own spin and saying something on top of that. So there's always a hidden meaning. And I find that's very apt for description for your series, where there's so many different ways and different meanings behind characters that it could really go any which way. And I made a few predictions to Nick this morning, and he was like, "You are completely wrong." So that's amazing, because if I can't see where it's going, it's a great twist.
Well, if I know Nick, it was probably like, "You're completely wrong," and then he made a note of all of them and went, "We're going to do that. That's better."
This is a great twist. Either that or he was just like, she totally guessed it right, but I'm not going to tell her. They're all wrong. They're all wrong. Right? Because we don't want to spoil anything. But so right in the beginning, we get these 2 images, and we have this black and white image of this character, Lord Cromwell. Looks like he's sitting on a throne. very condescending look. I'm not sure if this is what I think it is. I'm not going to say, but definitely has resting bitch face.
It's definitely, it might be me because I haven't got any hair.
Is that you in the corner? I was going to say it was something else, but we definitely don't know what he's looking at, but it's not in a happy manner. But look at this. It's like very Phantom of the Opera in the basement with these high arches and torches lit. And it's interesting. And it has this symbol on his chair. I don't know what that means yet. So, looks like ram's horns and maybe an upside down cross. I could be wrong. So there's just a whole lot of things we can read into just this one image. And there's no text. So it's like, I love how you can look at your series and come up to your own conclusion about.
Yeah.
And then once you read the issue, you can come back and look at this and get something completely different.
And also, just as a side note to that, am I echoing?
No, you're good.
As a side note to that, there's a lot of interesting things that are in chapter 1 that might just be in the corner of a panel or things like that, and then once you read maybe 2, 3, or 4, it will recontextualize what you've already seen. So
Amazing.
It's like there's so much dense storytelling in each panel. Well, not necessarily every panel, but in a lot of the certain elements. When you read the full thing, you'll be able to go back and go, oh my God, I had no idea that was being set up there. So that's what I found really interesting and fun to do.
Yes, I love that. That's my kind of storytelling too. Like there's so many things in here that you don't notice. And then when we get further on, it will make more sense. So I love that because as a reader, I want to be able to go back and reread an issue many times and get something new every time. You know what I mean? And get new insight or see new clues or Easter eggs. And that's amazing to me when writers and artists can do that in a story and make it worthwhile for me to reread. Because, it's like you read and then you're like, I'm done. You know what I mean? Moving on. And that's everybody's attention span now. But for me, I'm like, okay, how many different layers can I read into this and enjoy it again and again? Because that's what it's about for me. So
we kind of had the benefit of doing that because Nick wrote all 4 chapters.
Oh, sorry. Those are not shake weights. Those are guns, sir. You as a Texan should recognize what guns. Those are special guns. We'll talk about that. But no, those are not shake weights. God bless you.
But yeah, so as I was saying, like Nick wrote all 4 chapters before I even started work on the first one. We were able to sort of like pepper those little things in there as well. Cool. And on the guns, they are actually historically accurate, real guns. Revolvers. Yeah. So we're one of the earliest revolvers that still exist today. Yeah. We've got a good example of. So yeah, they are actually real weapons, even though they've got that very large bulbous thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
We tried to write all the weapons, everything in there. We tried to be as historically accurate, obviously, apart from the story of demons and secret orders fighting each other. But all the places and the weapons we reached everything.
But also even the supernatural elements that have their basis in realism, because like all the symbols and things, they're like what was originally witchcraft symbols and things like that. So everything or demonic symbols are based in the reality of the the supernatural, what people believed.
Yeah. I found a good resource for that is the Lesser Key of Solomon. It's a great book that has all the iconography of all the demons that they
I've got a better resource because my wife's a pagan witch.
Oh, nice. So all those the certain character that's doing things in the rituals. Nice.
Yeah. So all the symbols, she helped with all the symbols. Hello, Doc.
Morning, Doc.
Hello, mate. Yeah, all the symbols, everything like that, and the when they do the candles and things like that. So when I was writing it, and I knew I had to put a scene in like that, she came over my shoulder and was like, "No, you can't do it like that. It's got to be accurate. Do this." So,
you know, it changes my opinion on this character now that I know that you're basing things off of your wife and accuracy. So remember what I said earlier? I was like, I don't know about this character. Now that I know, might change my opinion. Because how dare you write your wife as a bad guy? Like that would just be a slap in the face.
Oh no, she's not in it. She's not in it. She just
I know.
Yeah, she just advised of it. The actual Honora, who's the witch in there, is more sort of based on Mike's girlfriend. Funny enough.
Well, I mean, you say that. I designed her. I designed her before. Designed the character of Honora before I even met my now girlfriend. So, but then a lot of people thought I'd based it on her. So, I don't know. Maybe it was fate.
You kind of willed her into existence.
Yeah.
You're like, I really like this girl, and then she shows up.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. Tell me about this image.
Well, that's the joke. If for the whole image, which is there is a whole image on the website, he's actually standing in the sewers and he's just been in a battle and he's looking up at the light because he's not disturbed. He is the last known member of the Totori, which are the guys. They were an order created by the Templar Knights, and they were looking after the nails that on Jesus's cross to stop the Sinestra getting hold of these nails. And he's the last known surviving member, and he was born into it. So all his life, all he's known is pure training, and it's been quite brutal training as well. So he really is a bit of a solemn character.
But yeah, this image in particular, and also another thing that I loved about the story when I first read it is because a lot of these 4 chapters is about the Duke, and it's about his struggle through what he's going through. But it's also like almost metaphysical in a way because he's on Earth. He's fighting through the darkness, through the crap and the misery and stuff like that, and he's always looking towards a light. Like he's the last protector, and there's so little light, effectively, which represents the good. He's constantly, literally wading through the sewers. He's wading through all this stuff. He's fighting through this stuff and looking up to, the light. But like he's. Even though he's got accomplices and he's got people protect, everything rests on him, and his entire existence is in darkness, even though he's fighting against it. And not to give too much away, but his struggle with that and the responsibility of it is, is the main focus, really, or one of the main focuses of four chapters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. That could be the theme that kind of ties everything together is his struggle and his, it's just a hard place to be, which is constantly stuck in the darkness and the crap to try and make the world a better place. But someone's got to do it, right? And if he's the last guy, I want to know what happened to all the other guys, right? I need that, Nick. You need to not tell me, but I'll get the books and I want to read. Like, why is he the last guy? What happened to everybody, right? And then his training to make him that way, like you said, was brutal. I hope to see that as well, especially if you can explain why he is covered in all of these freaking scars. I would love to know the story behind that. Is it something that he gets for winning? Is it something he gets for losing? Is it for protection? What, so it's just really interesting why anyone would be covered in brands like that,
particularly an order that talks about being part of the light and fighting the darkness. That's a question sort of been raised so far, but we haven't really delved it, and we're not. You'll see more about that, but yeah, it's quite interesting that it's like. Yeah. But this is what I loved about when I was reading through the scripts, because it's like you just get these little nuggets, and you're like, but hang on, like what that. and then everything gets explained, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's
Okay,
like
good.
so much more. Because the other thing with it as well that I really liked is that you read the first one, and if you surface read it, you can be like, oh, it's good guys versus bad guys. That's the story. But like, if you look a bit closer, there's all these little things, and you're like, but hang on a minute, that seems like that, or the way he fights is very similar to the way he fights, and there's all these different like, little things just peppered in, and it all comes together as the story goes on.
Amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all ties together, because like you said, I can see a million different ways for this to go. And picking Nick's brain a little bit, he didn't answer too many questions, but he let me guess all the wrong things. So I'm interested to see where the right things are. And I just love how different these two images are, because really this is our protagonist, our antagonist of the story. Just the looking down and condescending versus looking up towards the light kind of gives you the push and pull, the yin and yang of the story with these two gentlemen. I think that's really powerful right there, to introduce your two main characters that way. And here we are. So I wanted to show people this because this is so important to the story. We start with the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And they take him down, they remove the nails, and you have these 4 boxes with the nails and these 4 guys that go in opposite directions.
Yep.
Okay, and then we have this symbol. So, and of course, that's all we get. What a tease, right? Because just that, it's like, uh-oh. Okay, so we're dealing with this. And now here we are in London. What time frame would you put this in?
It's definitely Victorian era. We haven't really set it in a specific, date time frame.
Okay.
It is just one that we've sort of made up in the Victorian era, because too early there's bits that you couldn't put in the story.
Right.
Too late, then you're going to conflict with people like Jack the Ripper, and he's not in the story, and I didn't want him in there. So I'd say probably mid-Victorian.
Doc, you do need a bowler hat, please. I would love to see that on your show.
We'll get you in there, Doc. I've got a perfect part for you. Someone who's going to get eaten by the demons or something.
Right. I would think Sherlock Holmes era. Absolutely. I just wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. I wanted them to tell me exactly what it was, because I was making my own assumptions, but I didn't want to. Because I was going to say it's Jack the Ripper walking around somewhere, because that would, that would change the story.
It's a little earlier than Sherlock Holmes, so.
Gotcha. So before
I
that
don't
time.
think Sherlock Holmes
Doc
wouldn't
says
have been born. Or
he wants to be in the club. All
right, Governor, we'll get you in there.
Yay! That's awesome. So in the opening pages, so we got to see this really powerful moment with really no words at all. There's no text. There's nothing. There's no explanation of this. It's just you get to be witness to this moment. And now we're tossed into London, England in the Victorian age. And this is the first kind of dialogue we get. Is this Bowdy song.
Start off strong, I mean, the thing is, there is comedy in there.
The fight. I mean, absolutely start with a bang. Let me scroll a little slower. Okay, so here we are in the bar. And he says, no toffs in here, fella. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that was good enough.
Perfect.
I'm impressed.
Does a nice little wrist lock, tosses the guy through a table. Oh, and here we go, right? We got a broken nose. You filthy. Yeah, we won't say that word. Oh, yeah. So he punches me. He takes his tie as he's falling backwards and then uses that to toss him. Look at that, man. That's beautiful. That's great choreography right there. Like over the shoulder, throwing through the. Oh yeah, that's good. I can see that in my head, like it's playing on screen. And now, of course,
I've been in them sort of fights, so that was easy to write.
And look at this. Like in the first panel, the knife is falling. Second panel, he's there. He already caught it. So before this guy can even get up, he just pins him right to the counter. There it goes. That's the end of the fight. And then we get to meet these two and hear their conversation. Written fights before Nick, or how much of this was Nick saying, was it fully choreographed, or was it Nick saying like, there's a bar fight, and then Mike, you just filled in the blanks, or like how much was each one of you added, to this fight?
I think this one you fully choreographed it effectively.
Really?
I think he basically said what he wanted, everything down to like grabbing the guy's scarf and whatnot. I think it's different for different fight scenes, and it sometimes I think later on you've sort of put sort of stuff like the main points, and then like say if you can come up with something interesting, but he'll even give me direction on that. So it's like if he wants it to be sort of like something brutal, like a brutal attack here, or like so like usually there's a lot to go off. But if I come up with something, you just sort of let me do what I feel like. If I want to change it a little bit,
it was as I started writing it and I got a bit bored with putting in fight scenes. I just said, just do what you want, Mike.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm writing fights with Marco, sometimes I'm a little too specific because coming from production, like Nick and myself do, sometimes we see the whole fight in our head, and I put in way too much detail, and Marco's just like, I can't show all of these. We'll have 75 panels of fighting. He's like, why don't we pick out big moments? So then it becomes paring it down to, okay, what's the big moments we want to show that can convey the brutality of the fight? So, but I think this hits all the key moments here of who this man is. He's not upset. Look, he's just like, it's another Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. With what he deals with, this is nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And
also, this is another scene that I really like. We're trying not to give too much away. This is another scene that I really like as well, because the thing is with it, it's like, okay, it's a bar fight, right? We're being introduced to a guy, right? That's fair enough. You've seen that before. You've seen that loads of times before. It's like, so there's a bar fight. But there's so many little elements to it as well. It's like, this is an extreme reaction to what was happening. So, like, it's a bit extreme. It's like, did he need to go this far, really? Like, straight away? But then that's informs his character as well. But also, this whole scene, I don't want to give anything away, but this will be great when Chapter 2's out and Chapter 3's out. We'll be able to talk even more in depth about this, because it's set up like a trope, and then when later on, this whole scene plays back into the story again in a different way, and then it recontextualizes everything and it deepens the Duke's character, and you go, and it's used as something else. Like, and it's like, I can't wait for the rest of the bits to come out.
He wants to talk about it. He's dying to spoil it.
I'm marginally better than Tom Holland at keeping spoilers.
It's like, don't do that on
Nick's like sweating over there. He's like,
I know. He's like, laughing through the screen to tell you to be quiet. So
it is really
Holland
weird.
as a chaperone now whenever he does interviews. So it's like, oh, we need to get Mike a chaperone.
It's really weird though, because we get so many people that when they read it, I call them they get London Gothic-fied. And
Gothic-fied?
Yeah, and they get so drawn in that they ask me questions, even person to person or on emails. And they ask me so many questions about what's going to happen here and what's going to happen there. And, are Honora and the Duke going to sleep together and things like that I get. And, and I'm like, well, I can't really say, but I'll give you a little teaser. I'll leave it up.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I can't answer that question, especially not on a stream. Like, wow. But yeah, here's our two main guys. I wanted to ask you, is there any kind of like actor influence or anybody that influenced these two characters specifically? Jellicoe and then the Duke, excuse me. Anybody that you would think physically or
when we came up with the Duke, I wanted someone who was sort of like in their 40s, possibly mid 40s, seen a fair bit of life. I didn't want a usual, youngsters and that. I wanted it a little bit, him to be a bit more mature and sort of wise in what he's seen. He's seen a lot of the world. And we developed the Duke, and then I think I remember saying to you, I wanted a Clint Eastwood out of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I wanted that sort of look.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and he's pretty much there. He's pretty much, I'd say, a Clint Eastwood.
Mine is too. So I feel you, man. Clint Eastwood just has this presence, just with his eyes, especially. And I can see that in Duke.
Yeah, he was the governor, Clint. I love him.
Yeah, and then what about Jellicoe? Is there anybody that influenced him?
Jellicoe is my granddad.
Okay.
And an uncle from Ireland.
Okay, so you literally wrote a family member into your book.
2 Irishmen, yeah. 2 Irishmen. Awesome. So my granddad was a bare knuckle fighter in a traveling circus.
Oh my gosh.
And he was about, I don't know, 5'5" and about 7 foot wide with ginger hair. And they used to break paving slabs over his chest with a sledgehammer as part of the show. They used to do bare knuckle fighting for money and stuff like that. So I always had him in mind of all the stories that I've heard of where he was. He was just a loon, you know. And my uncle in Ireland is basically the same. He's got that with. The weird thing is he's ginger, but he dyes. He dyes his beard black.
What color? Black?
Yeah. And I think, well, if you're going to do it, do the lot.
Yeah. That's weird.
Right? So
was that a for them back then, or what?
I don't know what they do, but he's a loon as well. And it's all with Jellicoe, I've put in to break up the story. The story's very, very dark. It can be very dark, and some of it is quite disturbing as well. So I wanted to break it up with a little bit of humour. And I thought, well, the best way is we bring Jellicoe in, who really doesn't give a shit. He says what he thinks. Mm-hmm. And as you read it, you'll find that out. And he also puts soot in his tash to make it look black so he can drink in the pubs, because in the Victorian age, Irish people...
that explains this dialogue right here, because he's rubbing the soot and it makes me look pretty posh and pretty. Yeah. So it does. And I was just like, he's doing what? I was like, maybe I'm reading this wrong. That's so funny. So that's where that comes from. That's hilarious.
Yeah, because it is true. In the Victorian era, the Irish and the migrants, they had to drink in their own establishments. They weren't allowed in a lot of the places. So for him to get into this one, which was full of horrible Cockney mobsters, say, of the day, he had to dye it black, but he knows the barman anyway, so he was all right. He get on there. Everyone knows Jellicoe.
So all he did was his mustache. The rest of it's red. He's like, nah, it's a good disguise. I'll go.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
You probably just see the size. Like, I'm not gonna question him on it. I know full well he's Irish, but I'm not gonna question him. Look at size.
I'm not going to show this because it's further down, but he fights with a very distinctive weapon as well. And it's the Irish club.
It's a shillelagh. Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, there is a specific name. I have seen it, that style as well. It's its own specific stick fighting style, which is amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Jellicoe fighting with the shillelagh. It'll be really cool.
Oh, he will, and he'll fight with everything he'll pick up as well.
Everything else too. Cool. That's how it's supposed to go, man. It's like, oh, look what I found. This is a weapon, you know.
He's like an old Irish John Wick.
Nice. I was gonna say some of these fights are very John Wick to me. I was, and that's a compliment because I love John Wick. So yeah, kudos to you for writing amazing fights. So absolutely. I'm not going to show any more of this, people. This is book 1, correct? Is out.
Chapter 1.
Let me bring up the next one. Let me do this. Sorry, I have to push all the buttons. Push all the buttons. There we go. So here we are, London Gothic Chapter 2. Funded in 90 minutes, people. That's friggin' amazing. Wow. So here is the next one. So 90 plus pages of gripping horror. So this is where we pick up from the first book, correct? We're not missing anything in between?
No. It follows straight on.
Yeah, and also people, if you aren't familiar, you should be familiar with London Gothic because, of course, we play their commercials. But Nick is a sponsor of the Madness, and Michael is a regular on the Madness Open Draw stream. So just their first foray onto the Tuesday morning brew. But if you've been around in the Madness and on other shows, I'm sure you've seen these two gents before. But this is amazing. You have 51 backers. Your goal was 820, and you're sitting at real pretty at 2149.
Yeah.
So again, kicking butts and taking names.
It always looks so much better in dollars.
I know, doesn't it? Where it's just like, how much? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Are you guys all right if I play your video for the crowd?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, please.
My name's Nick Henry, and I'm the author and creator of London Gothic. When I first had the idea, it was my wife, Laura, that pushed me to sort of do something with it before I get so old that I can't remember what I'm doing.
After reading the scripts and getting to know Nick and finding more out about the story, it just seemed like this is something incredibly unique, and the world building is so deep that there's so many stories that can be told, and the characters are really, really interesting.
I love writing Jellicoe because he is based on a member of family from Ireland, and he's just a unique character. He really possesses the power of sarcasm, and it brings in quite a dark humour to the whole novel.
So my favourite character to draw so far has been Phineas, who is the evil overlord. His style is very egotistical, and he's very fanciful in his style, and a lot of his character can come across in the way that he moves and the way that he fights. He's very vicious and but also graceful at the same time. So drawing fight scenes with him has been fantastic.
So the Duke is the last known living descendant of the Tutori, and was trained with the sole purpose of basically keeping the Sinistra at bay, working in the shadows, fighting the Sinistra, and making sure that the public do not ever know.
It really pulls no punches. It's very visceral. It's very hard-hitting, and there's very shocking moments in it, but it's not shocking for shocking's sake. It's got everything has a purpose, but it really doesn't care, about your feelings. At times, it will make you hate characters, and it will make you love characters, and it will horrify you.
Yeah, to be honest, this is the darkest thing I've ever worked on. So what's different about this approach was that it being the darkest story I ever had to tell, I had to sort of dig deep a little bit and try and find the darkness inside me. A lot of my illustration work is never that dark and not as character rich, and that's the thing that got me with this story, was how rich the characters are. And I think anyone that will read the story will feel the same, because there's a character for everyone, at least one for everyone.
Impact of Kickstarter will be quite big for us, although we are self-funded, so whatever happens on Kickstarter, it's not going to affect the production. We've made it quite clear to each other, myself and Mike, that we will do this no matter what.
Whew. That thunder at the end is just like ominous.
That's a great video Mike put together, but it'd be so much better if I wasn't in it.
No, stop. I think you guys, you look the part. You were talking about your creation. A lot of backers, they want to meet you. They want to hear from your mouth, you know, about your own project. So it's important that you put your face out there. Great video. And a lot of that is spoilers to what happened in the first kind of novel. If you were paying attention, it's like, woo, I didn't know they were going to show all this goodies. Like,
well, to be fair, we didn't on the first Kickstarter, but yeah, we put a few extras in there for the second chapter Kickstarter.
Right, but still not enough to like spoil the story. Just to kind of whet everybody's palate about what's in there and some of those terrible bad guys that they're going to see. And then it was nice to see, you know, stuff from the second one, a little snippet of Lord Cromwell fighting someone on fire. Like, okay.
That's not Lord Cromwell.
I thought, oh, who was that? He said Phineas. You said Phineas, right?
Yeah, it's sort of on the video. It could be misconstrued as that when he was talking, but it's not. No, that's someone different.
We'll have to look and find out, guys. And I was like, is that Lord Cromwell? Why is he, you know, fighting demons? He shouldn't, because I mean, he's the bad guy, right? But now I'm gonna have to read and find out. Here we are at chapter 2. I love how your signatures on this book reminds me of, well, yours absolutely has the symbol of London Gothic in it, but you know, even yours has the other. It's like, it's very symbolic. It looks like something that would be part of this world, you know, Mike.
Oh, well, thanks. I had that signature before, but I'm glad that it sort of it works. I suppose it does, really. Like the two lines sort of look like the other symbol. So yeah, that's a happy coincidence.
I taught him how to do that, because before it was an X.
He's like, I can't say it's just X.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool that ties into, you know, the story, even with your signatures on there. So that's really cool. Here's chapter 1. Of course, there's chapter 2 on this cover, but it says, you know, following chapter 1, 90-page, full color A4 size, perfect bound. Wow, with anti-scratch, matte laminated cover. Beautiful.
So we got 2 covers. On the first one, we had the windows that you can see at the bottom now.
Cool.
Which was the limited edition. So we carried that on because that was our intention from the start. But then when we got guest artists to do the covers, the first one on chapter 1, where the Duke is sitting in front of the picture where he's got the branding, was done by a really talented guy called Richard Malloy. And then we got this one done by another talented artist called Pete Gilmore.
Amazing.
Who's done Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter, I think, with Mandy Summers.
Okay. I mean, this is just very speaks about the you know, the internal battle. They're playing a chess game. They're trying to outwit each other and think 3 moves ahead. And the painting in the background is divided as well. So it's interesting, you know.
If you look at that picture, you could see our faults in it.
Yeah.
And there's teasers in the picture, in the cover.
The Templar Knights here, and then I don't know who this figure is up top. We haven't gotten that information yet. Obviously, he looks like a demon.
You've seen it.
Oh, I did.
You've seen it. In chapter 1, you saw it. Whether you noticed is another thing.
But I mean, now I have to go back. Now I have to go back and look again.
It's exactly what Mike was saying. What we did was we intended to put these little bits in there so that readers make their own mind up about the story, and where they see these little tidbits, they go, "Oh, you'll either miss it, or you'll catch it, or you'll catch it later and go back."
Mm-hmm.
So there's something in there just to keep.
There's one massive. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to ruin it. But there is one massive one that no one's spotted yet. It's,
oh, I want to go find it. See,
no one's figured it out yet. But it's there. It's there. There's enough info. Is there enough? No, it's not quite enough info in just the first chapter. But yeah, there's.
Wow.
I mean, but yeah, when you get the second one, it'll be interesting to see if anybody picks up on it.
That's cool.
Is it what I think it is, Mike?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's your bra size, mate. I'll put it in one of the posters.
I don't know about that. Like, and then, of course, this cover we have. Yes, you want to tell me about this cover? It's all the bad guys, right? I mean,
I'll let Mike tell you about that. That's his creation.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's so there we've got the Punch and Soul Creeper masks that are there. It's very similar to the first Kickstarter one that we did, but it's a stained glass window, obviously, that's depicting certain elements of the story. But this one, you can see that the environment and the window itself is degrading more and more, and so our plan is we're going to have these sort of symbolic stained glass windows only on the limited editions. Each one's going to have one, and then gradually the environment around it's being disintegrated and destroyed as the story gets darker and darker.
Ooh, that's telling. Dun, dun, dun. Original pencils from London Gothic Chapter 2. This is the what's the name of this character?
It's the Soul Creeper.
Soul Creeper.
Yeah.
He was originally called the Sandman, but we had to change that because someone else has done it.
Yep.
I don't know, some small indie writer or someone did something weird. I don't know.
Yeah, some unknown
Yeah.
writer. Never heard of them before.
But when I originally came up, he was the first character that I ever came up with a long time ago when I was a nipper. And he was called the Sandman. So it's before anyone else had ever done it. So it always will be to me, even when I speak about it with Mike or my wife or anyone else, I'll say, "Oh, the Sandman," and I think, "Oh no, the Soul Creeper."
Right. No, I feel you. That happens where it's just like for legal reasons or IP protection, change the names. So protect your characters. But he looks gnarly. And of course,
he's an experience.
That's how you would put it? I think he's an experience I would probably like to skip.
Yeah.
I would sign up for that experience. Just say no.
You probably won't want to be him either.
Nope. Just based off of what I already know about your series, I'm going to opt out of that one thing. And then here is Lord Cromwell. It's interesting to me how you draw him sometimes with eyes and sometimes his eyes glow white. I'm sure there's a reason why, but we haven't gotten
there
it.
is.
So, I'll just have to keep reading. Oof, look at this.
This is the Soul Creeper now back to life.
Naked.
Yeah.
Puts his cloak. I mean, he's pretty gnarly looking, man. That is definitely nightmare fuel. Do you want to what does he do? Are we allowed to talk about that, or are we spoiling anything?
Probably not. I suppose a little bit. Well, I suppose it might spoil some things. I suppose it doesn't matter that much.
What is he capable of doing without spoiling too much? You don't have to tell us what he does to people.
I'll let Nick take this one. I'll let you tell him, Nick.
How far can we go in here, or do you want me just to keep going? Just having a moment.
You tell him, Nick.
Just get Mike on and do the whole 4 chapters.
What?
And to give it all away is brilliant.
I'm not giving anything away yet. I've already said where they should be looking.
So he basically he's, let's say, supernatural evil power is that he can suck the life force out of anyone.
Does he get more pieces of body back when he does that?
Ooh.
Oh. Don't answer that.
But he's definitely one to keep an eye on. In chapter 1, we see the introduction of him. And chapter 2 follows on with, let's say, how he got where he got.
Okay.
Because at chapter 1, you find out how he created, say.
Right.
And then chapter 2 shows that. And every chapter, what we do is we leave it with chapter 2 will end with an introduction of another new character. And then we follow on with chapter 3, where that character's, let's say, mini origin stories to bring them into it. It doesn't quite work out like that on chapter 3. That's
okay. I was going to say, poor Duke. You keep bringing in all these new bad guys.
There's a lot.
Just can't catch a break.
Well, Phineas is slowly building. I mean, at the moment, he's only really got the Earth children, what we call the Earth children, which are the sort of like demons that live in the sewers. They don't come out, or very rarely come out into the open. The public never see this fight that's going on that the Duke and Jellicoe have with these demons. It's just the Duke and Jellicoe have been doing this for years, keeping them at bay. And although in the past they've encountered other types of demons, they've got it to a stage where they're thinking, well, okay, we can just keep these at bay and everything's fine, and mankind is safe. And now Phineas has come along, and he's like the new like the commander of the Sinestra, who are the evil brotherhood. And he's a nasty piece of work. He really is. He doesn't care about anyone or anything. And he wants to get his hands on the Miracalo, which are the nails that we saw, that you showed earlier. And if he can find these nails, they're said to hold like a supernatural power, whether it be good or evil. I'm not going to give it away. But
I was like,
so he's creating this army. He's resurrecting these really nasty demons to basically create chaos and take the sort of onus off of him, while he's searching for these holy relics, these Miracalos. So his plan is his idea is that he wants to actually bring hell upon the earth, and he will be the commander of all mankind.
Yeah.
It's hard to fit that into a 5-minute story, but that's what it's about.
Right. It's like you just took this whole thing and just put it. But that's what people want to hear, is like, what are we getting here? And it's like the fight between good and evil, and definitely he has some lofty goals. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's one of those stories that when I wrote it, and I've always said on these shows, I've never written anything. I never professed to be a writer. But I've had the story in my head for so many years, where it's developed, and I've invented new characters. And it was my wife that said, if you don't do it soon, you're just going to peg it, and then no one will ever know the story.
Yeah.
So I wrote it originally. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. But I wanted it to be, I was going to send it to like TV film companies. And my son, who's madly into graphic novels, one of my sons, he said, it's going to be tough for you to get it in front of people if you're not really known. It's a bit of a long shot. Why don't you do a graphic novel? Because I think it'll look great if you do a graphic novel. And that's when I decided, that would be the way. And when I wrote the story, like I say, I'd never written anything. I'd done it in 4 months, all 4 chapters.
Wow.
But I don't know how I did it. It's like the devil made me do it.
No, it was just, it needed to come out. It was one of those things that you've been thinking about it for so long. It was probably almost fully formed, and it was just a matter of putting it on paper.
Yeah, it was just amazing. I used to write this, you know, go to work, and then it was about lockdown time when we had the lockdown. And I was still working at the time during the lockdown. I had to go to work, but I'd come home in the evenings and I'd just get cracking on it and just go through. And I'd do like 10, 20 pages.
Yeah.
And show them to my wife, and I'd go, does this look all right, or is it a bit shit, really? And she'd look at it, she'd go, wow, did you actually write that?
Spouses are great. I only laugh because my story was very similar. It's like I had it in my head for a while, and I had it on like 3x5 cards, and I would tell like bits and pieces of the story to people, and they were like, why aren't you writing this?
Yeah.
And the same thing, the pandemic happened. We were all stressed out, and I was up late at night, just insomnia, anxiety, whatever. And I would just pour the story out. And so I think I put it on paper in about 2 or 3 months, and then took time to like fine tune it. But even with my spouse, I was like, I wouldn't let him read it. I was like, no, it's not ready. Like, no, you're going to, you know what I mean? You never want your spouse to read something and be like, what am I reading? Or who are you? You know, to be like, wow, you know? So same thing when my husband finally read it, he was just like, we have to do something with it, you know? Because if we don't, like, people will never know this story, and it deserves to be told. So that speaks volumes. You know, it's like when you have that story that's so powerful that other people are like, you need to tell the story. But then you just have to decide how do you want to tell your story? And I think visual medium like comic books and graphic novels is great because you can control so much of it. And when you have a great artist like Mike who can see what's in your head and put it on paper for people to experience, it's not a $2 million budget for special effects. CGI. It leaves.
You don't know how much I'm charging him.
Say again.
You don't know how much I'm charging him.
You're charging him $2 million?
No, I'm not, unfortunately.
When I started to do it, it was really weird because everything fell into place. And like I say, I'd never even really read a graphic novel. It wasn't my thing. I was more horror films and series.
Yeah.
And I hadn't read a comic since I was probably 12.
Wow.
So that's nearly the Victorian era.
I was going to say dinosaurs, but just kidding.
No, you could say what you like. I don't mind.
With love.
But yeah, it was really weird. And then when it all came together and started writing it, and then I found Mike. I didn't know Mike. I just found him, and then we just ended up on the same wavelength.
On the side of the road, like how'd you find Mike?
In a ditch.
Yeah, it was in a homeless place.
Oh.
Yeah. In a ditch, just drawing up back of newspapers, and they went, "I'll get you a job."
No, but seriously, how?
It was in a cell, scribbling on the walls.
No, it was on a website called Upwork, which is a website for freelancers. I'd just been made, because I was a graphic designer. I'd done illustration work in the past, and I'd been a freelancer, but I was working as a full-time graphic designer, and I got made redundant just before the lockdown hit. And so I was looking for work and just came across a post that Nick had put on there asking for an artist for a comic book. And I thought, that seems pretty cool. And he asked for someone to do just a panel of Jack the Ripper fighting a demon, just as because he was keeping the actual story close to his chest, and it was just to get an example. So I thought, I really like this job, so I just did a whole page and made it into a little short story, which is unfair to other people applying for the job, but I got the job, so it worked out. So.
But that's what you kind of have to do to set yourself apart. If it's something you're really passionate about and you love the story, go above and beyond and show that you're committed, right?
And if they were passionate about it, maybe they'd have gone above and beyond.
Maybe, who knows?
But, yeah.
But it was meant to be, right?
Yeah. I ended up with him.
Well, that's good. At least that's what he's going to say on the live. You can pay him $20 later. Let's keep going. Oh, chapter 2 preview. Look at this. Ooh, is that Honora?
No.
Okay. I was like, man, I take back what I said about what I said. People, like, dang. Wow.
If it is,
as you can see,
makeup on.
That escalated quickly. Look what look.
The artwork's a little better now, isn't it? So
this is amazing. Okay, so we got full moon. Wow, who's this guy on the right with his sight?
You have to find out.
New characters. They're just, roasting a dude. Looks delicious. Says, "You shall not pass." No, that's not what he says. Amazing. These witches look scary. And takes one to the chest. All right. That's a grin right there. You got a center tooth? That's scary. Ooh. Slice. That scythe is amazing. I want one. Can you imagine if I was cutting watermelons with scythes? That would be great. All right, and now here's this person on fire. I love it. Just the head. What? I need to know what's going on. I need more context. Amazing. Just the reds and the blues. And of course, a nice gory fight. I'm here for it.
So that guy you could see there is the Soul Creeper.
Right. He just randomly shows up. Don't answer that.
He's sitting there. This is his origin. This is how he became. Well, before at the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
You know what happens.
Yes.
And you've seen him there as on the Kickstarter, so he's resurrected. But how did he get resurrected? How did he get to where he was before he was resurrected? And this is his origins.
Whew. Phineas did it. Wow. Don't take our word for it. Yep. And here's what reviewers say about chapter 1. This is great. To get reviews, I need to do this where I need people just to read my comic and review it and give me feedback. This is amazing. 4.5. That's
they're all actual review websites. So they done an article on
10 out of 10. Amazing. And 9 out of 10.
Below are the ones we've got a section on chapter 1 where you can just review. Anyone can just put whatever they think of the graphic novel, and every single one we've had is 5 out of 5. It's amazing.
Look at these. Yeah, it just keeps going.
That's not even all of them.
That's not all of them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Half of them or something like that one. But yeah.
Did you guys launch before they added all the pictures?
I think we'd started doing it before they added the picture. I did notice the picture thing.
Yeah, it started 2 days before I launched, and I panicked and went back and created all these graphics at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Well, we did this on the first one, so we'd already, but they're not actually linked to the actual reward. I don't know how that works. We were too close to sort of releasing before we wanted to mess around with it, so we just did it the same way we did on the first chapter. So
right. I had debated doing it that way, but I was just what the? So I just went and added the pictures because, I needed more stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's a headache.
It is.
Well,
that and you set up your pictures one way, and then the size doesn't match. It's not like you could just take this image and plop it in there. You'd have to manipulate it so it doesn't get cut off. So it's like redoing the entire thing.
Yeah.
Fun times. but at least going forward, it's there in an option. So that makes it easier for people who are actually clicking on it. Like, is this the right variant, or is this the one with the special cover, or you know what I mean? So it helps people, I think. But when you're launching like we did, like right before, right after, it's like, headache. All right, so let's see here. Let's see here. We have digital PDF download. This is just chapter 2 download of £4, right?
Yeah.
Which is about $5 US, and that's right around the lines of absolutely. 1 and 2. Oh, so you have a catch up 1 and 2, and these are not. Listen, $5 is what I choose for, or I have for a PDF. This is 90 pages. I retract my statement. This is a huge deal. Because it's a lot more than what you typically get for a download. So that's amazing. And then for £6, about $8, you can get both.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to make it affordable, especially the way things are going in the world.
Yeah, it really is.
People
it's hard.
are just struggling. So, if it enables them to read it and they haven't got to lay out a lot of money, then it's good for us and good for them.
Yeah. You're doing international shipping as well. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that's
Well, I mean, in this day and age, you can lose your butt on shipping if you don't.
Absolutely.
Because I think in my first campaign, I decided to do some international shipping, and I was not prepared for what happened. You know what I mean? Where I was just like paying double for shipping what I had put aside for the internationals, and I was like,
yeah, we had our
next one. We're not doing this.
No, same with us on the first Kickstarter. We actually earned hardly anything because didn't realize how much stuff was going to be to send out.
Right.
It was just ridiculous.
It also changed though as well.
It changes, right? So you can get a very accurate guess, but by the time that the comic is done being produced and ready to ship, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, we're lucky really because we use RJ at Critical Blast. So for all the USA backers, I send him some out, and then when I get orders in, he can ship them out. So it makes us more competitive in the USA because we got massive following in the USA, but not many buyers because of the shipping. So recently, in the last couple of months, RJ's got a load now with him that if I get the orders in, I can send them out. So where it was like 25, it was getting up to like $25 just to send a copy out there. That's without the price of the copy. You're looking at $35 sometimes. But now we've brought it right down. So it's about $24, something like that. Okay. Which is pretty good for a 90-page graphic novel.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, which is very competitive. But I feel you. It's almost like I feel bad sending stuff overseas where they have to pay like triple the price that everybody else does just to get it. Once we get bigger, we'll look at that again. But right now we're just shipping continental US.
Yeah.
Signed copies. Excellent. Parliament package. Ooh, what's these? Parliament package. Scroll. The chess edition. Okay, so the signed chapter 2 chess edition with the digital PDF download and limited edition Kickstarter exclusive A4 signed poster. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's the painting that appears in the chess edition cover.
Very cool.
And that one is just you could have the limited edition, which is Kickstarter. Once we do the amount of Kickstarter limited editions, we don't do any more. That's it. So people who are collectors, if they want to collect them, they know they're going to get that. That's never going to be done again, apart from the ones that we've kept for ourselves.
Right.
I nearly sent them all out, and I got told off.
Under London package, got stickers in there.
Yeah.
Sticker sheet,
character sticker sheet. Cool.
So you get stickers and a bookmark there.
What do your fans like? Like, you know what I mean? When it comes to the bonus stuff, they like the bookmarks, the stickers, pins. Like, what do people clamor for?
the cameo appearances.
The cameo, the drawings into the comic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our biggest reward. And they basically nearly went straight away.
Did they? You have to limit those because poor Matt would be drawing people.
Yeah, we did limit them.
Yeah.
We had to limit ours too because Marco was like, it slows me down. And I'm like, okay.
Well, because the world of London Gothic, when I wrote it, I didn't realise that it's going to be such a massive world I've created that can go off in all these different directions.
Yeah.
So when we've got through it and Mike needs extras in there, it does help a bit that you can call upon people that have bought the package that we can put in there, and it pleases us and pleases them, even though they might get horribly mutilated.
I was going to say, do you kill them off right away like I do? I'm always like, here you are, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that'll probably happen, but
the first one we did, the first Kickstarter, we had one reward where it was a cameo because we wasn't sure, and the guy bought it, and we ran a competition, didn't we, for a sign, for an actual panel of art and a cameo, just to drum up some followers on the social media. And this guy won it, and I said to him, look, we're going to put you in it, but are you okay if you get like horribly mutilated? He was like, yes.
That's the kind of fans you want. Absolutely. Hey, look, it's Quentin. Good morning, Quentin.
Hello, Quentin.
Morning, Quentin.
And John. Poor Doc. He's in Georgia, and they've been getting hit by tornadoes.
Yeah.
Twice now. The first one knocked trees onto his house, and it was really bad. So we were worried about the second one that was going through. It looks like he's okay, but it's just another big old mess, which is unfortunate. So sorry about that, Doc.
Yeah, we saw that on the news over here.
Yeah. So what? Raising funds and how it happens. This is our second Kickstarter. We're hoping to raise enough funds to help with printing costs. Absolutely. Look at this wonderful setup. Do you stand behind here? Where are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking the picture, probably.
Right. I was like, yeah, you're taking the picture. It was like, you should at least have Mike back there smiling.
No.
Why?
No. Yeah, people off.
You guys don't do cons together, or are you in different places?
Yeah, we do. We do some. Yeah, we done London together. That was good fun. I've got to say, that was good fun.
Yeah.
But we've got a big one coming up in May where we're together, which is the Horror Con, which is Mike lives up north of England and I'm down south, so it's actually up where he is. So I've got to go up to him.
How far in hours are you apart?
To about 4.5.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Probably, yeah, that's right.
Not in American terms, no. I mean, I remember going there. My family live. I've got a lot of family in America, a lot. And when they say we're going up the road, it's like 3 hours. I was like, I want to get out of this car.
That's half the country down here.
Yep. I mean, but at least you guys have trains where everything is connected. It's here. It's like we don't have a train system like that where it's like you have to just hop in a car and drive.
I mean, when they show up,
they're always on strike.
Yeah.
They're always on strike. Well, that's no good. Our trains just crash and pollute the earth and kill us. It's good. Moving on, shall we? What is this image? Tell me, what's this?
Can't tell you.
Oh, I want to know. Oh, yeah. Something's happening here.
But you mentioned it to me before the show earlier.
Did I? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say. Amazing. Oh, I'm so invested in this story. I can't wait. And of course, risks and challenges. So yeah, this is a beautiful page. If you guys haven't been on this page, please come check it out. They've got a ton. We didn't even talk about what's your guys' favorite level? What's your favorite reward?
Oh, my one is probably the top one because it's the cameo. It's that Soul Creeper. Yeah.
This one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your likeness as a character in London Gothic Chapter 3. So the next one.
Yeah.
It's hard to promise the same issue sometimes if you're already into it, you know?
Yeah.
£100, that's nothing. $124, great.
We've got one left.
Ah, yeah, you only did 6. So amazing. Someone go grab that.
I wanted to do about 50, but Mike wouldn't let me.
You wanted to do what?
I wanted 50? To do 50 of them, but Mike wouldn't let me.
Yeah, no, Mike.
We'd end up with a lot of crowd scenes of just people like.
Like, how do you decapitate a crowd? We'll have to figure that out. Really good work, guys.
But there is a stretch goal on there that if we can get to 2,500, it's off. It's right at the top, is it, Mike?
Yeah,
is it at the top?
Yeah.
If we can get to 2,500, everyone will get a copy of the chest cover signed.
Cool.
As a poster,
like
as
a
its own
poster.
poster, yeah. That's for everybody that's ordered a physical copy or above.
Yeah.
If you're getting a delivery, you'll get that too.
Very cool. Do you have any other stretch goals after that? Because you're probably going to hit that.
Oh, I don't know. We've got 14 days. So that's £2,500 we want. So I suppose that would be $3,000 maybe.
What?
Maybe above.
Am I looking at this wrong?
Yeah, because you've got it in dollars, we've got it in pounds.
Oh,
so it would be
okay.
£2,500, yeah. So I don't know what that would be in dollars.
Don't worry about 2,500 at a minute. What pounds good.
We're happy to take.
How many US dollars is 2,500 pounds?
$3,084.93.
There you go. So we're $1,000 off. So I don't.
You got an Australian accent.
She does.
Okay.
It's entertaining to me.
Fair enough.
I'd love to get one of them with a Jellicoe accent.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just wouldn't tell you anything you wanted to know, though.
How many pints of Guinness can you drink in a night, Jellicoe? Or I don't really know. I think I could tuck away about 30 or so.
Oh, it wouldn't be good if your series starts talking back to you. Oh, that was one of the other things I wanted to talk about is the insults that you guys have crafted into this story. Yeah. Let me go back and share that because there's no way I could craft these wonderful insults. They're really spot on. Go back.
There's some good ones in chapter 2 as well.
Okay.
One made me actually laugh out loud the other day when I was reading through it.
I don't want to go too much farther. Let's see if he's got one real close. Nope, I'm not gonna go. Sorry, guys, you'll have to get it to see it. But some of the things that Jellicoe says, I'm just like, oh my Lord. Are you basing this off of what? Like, where are you finding your inspiration for your insults?
Oh, I'm good at insulting people, so they just come natural.
Just that, just like, they just pop in your head. You don't have to look them up or nothing. That's
well, when you're as old as me and you've been insulted as much, and you've had to give it back, so they just stick in there.
Ouch. I have another question. So, Mike, when you're drawing something as dark as this story, do you ever have to like take a brain break because of the content? Do you ever have to like balance it by like going to a garden, watching a comedy, like, or you're cool with it and you live there? That's your
no, I miss it when I'm not doing it, to be honest.
So then you kind of just live there, right? And you're all right with that content. That's amazing.
No, I've never really done anything this dark before, but it just doesn't bother me. I suppose I'm just desensitized from watching films, stuff like that, I guess, but it don't really bother me. But I think that's the influence Nick's had on me, to be perfectly honest. I used to be a well-adjusted, ordinary bloke, and now, I'm warped. I'm never going to be the same after this comic book, to be perfectly honest. So. I need some therapy, I think.
Oh, goodness. And I'm sure it's going to get worse because as the stories keep going, I'm sure it escalates. So I'll be interested to see
Yeah.
what kind of blood, guts, and gore that you're able to craft into your stories.
I'm pretty sure some of the stuff that happens in the later chapters. I think the big publishers would just say no, we're not
Really
taking a risk on that. No,
Yeah.
I mean there's generally never anything like sexual in it or anything like that. But I mean, there's occasional slight little bits of nudity when it's necessary in the story, but there's never anything really like that. But it's there's some pretty graphic stuff, even in chapter 1. But there's some more stuff coming that's a lot worse.
Shocking.
A lot worse.
Yeah, but not for the sake of it. It's all to do with the story.
right?
Yeah. It's not just gore. It's like there's and I think as well, some of the elements of it, the stuff that's coming, is not just oh, that's grotesque, but it's like that's psychologically that's messed up. That's like, you know,
a bit like the punch scene in chapter 1.
Yeah, that was psychologically messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I wrote that made me feel physically sick. It did.
That's how you know it's like right at the line. I've had artists tell me that too, where they're like, Laurie, I'm drawing your stuff and I'm grossing myself out. And I was like, great, it's perfect. Yeah, because that's what I want people to feel, right?
Yeah. Well, we did genuinely have a discussion, and I sort of came around to it because originally, when I read it, I thought, well, this is better if we cut away. I thought, well, if we cut away and then just leave it to the end, that's probably better. But then I thought about it a bit longer, and then I thought, and then with reading the later chapters, I thought, no, we actually need to show this because it's setting certain things up. So, so we have to show it. And then you went back and forth on it as well, didn't you? Because you were like, have I gone too far here?
Yeah.
And then Laura just went, no, you've got to. So it's Nick's wife. So it was like, no, it's going in.
I did, yeah. I said I think I should take it out because it is too much. It actually made me feel ill. It done me in. I just thought, oh God, these are kids, you know?
Yeah, and that's a question that I get asked a lot of times because of the sensitive topic that I have. But are kids fair game in your story?
Yeah.
You know, will you see kids getting killed? Will you see, you know, terrible things happening? Or because it raises the stakes, especially for me, being a mom. When I read a story and there's kids involved, it makes me feel so much worse about what's happening. So, but there's kids in my story as well. We have to be honest with ourselves in a dark place, you know, how it would treat kids.
It's like it's an exaggeration of the time period. I mean, kids were treated horrendously in Victorian London. Like they usually wouldn't even make it to adulthood because they would die in chimneys and factories and mines and stuff like that. They were just treated as fodder basically. So it's like, so it's almost like an exaggeration and metaphor of that anyway, because they were just seen as, you know, useless pretty much unless they were working doing horrific jobs. So
speaking of the kids, they were watching this, you called it Punch and Judy show. And that's not something that we're too familiar here in the States. So why don't you explain what that is to us and then how that ties into your character?
So a Punch and Judy show is historically, it's like a European thing. I think it originated in Italy. And it's quite brutal, really, for kids. I think they've tamed it down a lot nowadays. They still have them at the seasides. They're mainly seaside attractions. And they've tamed them a little bit because of they don't want to show the kids. They're a little bit more sort of precious nowadays. where when we was kids, they didn't really give a shit. They just, you'd have Punch come out, who's a hideous sort of like jester looking thing. And they'd have a great big red marquee, and it would be the Punch and Judy show. And he'd come up, there'd be a man behind. I mean, just talk like that. Sort of like that. That's the way to do it, he used to say. Yeah, right. And he used to say that a lot while beating the other characters to death with bits of wood and like clubs and things, right? So you'd have Judy come on, who would get beat up, then the crocodile,
His wife.
and then a policeman, and then the crocodile would nick the sausages and punch and beat him up and kill him because he wanted the sausages. And it was like, it's just madness. So you think
it was almost like a mini theatre version of, like, you know, a lot of the grim fairy tales.
Yeah.
It's kind of along those same lines as, like, you know, scare your kids silly sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's crazy.
Really, yeah, and if
like
you haven't got it
glorifying
in
domestic
space,
violence and stuff for kids. It's just,
Right.
well, and also against
Why?
women. I mean, he beats Judy to death with a plank of wood in it.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, every show.
Yeah, every single
Right?
one's the same. Yeah, and the kids love it.
I don't know. It's like Looney Tunes. Even it's like we went from like the Grimm brothers to Looney Tunes, where there's still gratuitous violence, just with no blood. You know, I don't know how many times is Elmer Fudd or Bugs Bunny and, you know, blowing somebody up, or the Roadrunner, you know, runs Wile E. Coyote off the cliff and drops anvils on them. So it's the same kind of like gratuitous violence we expose kids to, but in a comedic way, and they think it's funny. It's interesting. So this Punch that you're referring to is this grotesque clown character, and now we have a demon Punch.
Yeah, you got a demon Punch. I'm just going to try and find you a picture of the art that was done. If you carry on.
Originally, Punch was actually, I mean, by some accounts, it was actually a real person, a performer in Italy. Who wore a mask, and then the story and the puppet thing sort of came from that a long time ago. But yeah, it's like all kids over here know about Punch and Judy. They've all seen a show at the seaside, or, you know, things like that. So yeah, we wanted to sort of bring that element in. Well, it was Nick's idea, but
people are terrified of clowns anyway. Here, I'm gonna put this on stream. Nightmare fuel. Yeah, if my daughter is already afraid of clowns, she's never seen anything scary with clowns. I think some kid was talking to her about Stephen King's It when that movie came out, and this would scare her sleepless for a month.
It's funny that, actually, because even the original design for his mask was quite different to that.
Really?
It was more, it was more sort of more clown look, like less degraded and things like that. And then Nick, like, I'd done a lot of the pages, and then Nick was like, I don't think the mask is right, and so we went back and we redesigned it and changed it into that mask. And I think it was the right move, because I think it does look better than the original one.
I was going to share some on the promo art that we had done of Punch, but I can't seem to do it.
Yeah, if you find it, stick it in share screen, and I'll put it up on the screen.
Let's have a look. I'll see if I can get it.
Just the idea of him is terrifying. That, you know, they bring these kids, they have a Punch and Judy show that these kids are watching, and then one of them ends up with the real Punch.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect character, because in those days you would have had a Punch and Judy, and the kids would have gone to watch him, and they would pretty much trust him. So they were there to entertain them, not to eat them.
Like a cannibalistic Mickey Mouse. That would be a bad day.
I'll try and share this screen so you can see.
Oh,
you got it?
I've got it, yeah.
But I'm surprised that in the States it's not a big thing, but I think it's more European wide that it was. So yeah.
Good night, everybody.
So you could see in the background there that there's the Punch and Judy stand.
Yeah.
And that they would have popped up there with the puppets, but Punch always had a hunchback. The puppet always had a hunchback. It just was grotesque.
Why does it make
it
it worse?
big nose. It's like weirdest thing. I don't know if we could find a picture of an actual Punch and Judy stand.
Google.
And then you'll be able to see exactly what it is.
Yeah.
just check it. Yeah.
You know, it's already scary, and then when I realize he's a hunchback, it's worse. I don't know why, but it's worse. It's already terrifying. Whew. He is scary. Look at his hair.
If you go into Google and just put Punch and Judy in, you'll come up with loads and loads of them. But there was
I've got one here.
There was Neil Gaiman actually wrote not a graphic novel, I don't think it was, but it was like a book about his childhood and it was called. It's got Punch on it on the front of it, and it's about how terrifying it was.
Hold on. Oh, where are you? Here we go. Oh, there's that one too. Look, this is what I found. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're not very nice, are they?
No.
No.
They're not like friendly looking puppets.
Wait, you took yours down. I was going to put it up. That's all right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's cool. Let us look at this one. Look. Yeah.
So you could see that when we researched Punch, it was originated from Italy.
Yeah. Interesting.
So a lot of the characters, like the evil characters, the demonic ones in London Gothic, are all from myth and legend. I mean, look at that one.
Yeah.
You won't want to meet that on a Tinder date, would you?
No, it's no chicken. Doesn't he look like a chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the puppet show. Yeah, this is this weird court jester creepy, right?
Yeah. So we'd never ever seen, when I researched, no one had ever used Punch
as a
demonic Punch, you know, a demonic character.
He's already creepy.
See that black and white picture there? If you go up.
This one.
Yeah. See, that's me standing there just on a bit.
You're on the right with this hat. That's you. Maybe this one.
I've still got that hat.
1900 to 1980. Wait, it was this photograph of Punch and Judy show by Paul Martin about 1895 England. Okay. Yeah. So it's really like part of history.
Yeah.
You guys have demonized and put in your comic book. Nothing.
So we're
I mean, it didn't take a lot, to be fair. It was pretty gruesome already.
Right.
Pretty creepy already. It didn't take a lot of translating.
Oh no!
Look at the state.
There's the crocodile.
Yeah. Oh. So Mr. Punch up top left, and then Judy, baby, hanged them.
Oh yeah, he used to kill the baby as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he kill the baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no wonder I'm so fucked up in here, isn't it?
And they talk nowadays about entertainment warping kids' mind. I mean,
that's what it was interesting because every time someone asks me that question, like, are kids fair game in your zombie apocalypse? And I was like, kids have been fair game since the beginning of time. Like, you've not read stories. Yeah. Like,
and they're innocent. And
right?
you get evil people that prey on the innocent, and the most innocent are kids, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So this is really interesting to me, just because, I'm not used to seeing this. This is, different types of entertainment that we normally don't see here in the U.S. So very cool.
We're going to bring it to you.
Yes, in the form of demonic puppets brought to life. Terrifying.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's a lot of because that's another thing that I really liked about the script when I first read it, is because it draws from a lot of real myths and legends, because we've got a lot of that in England. Like the history goes back so far, and supernatural stories about Spring-Heeled Jack and all sorts of stuff like that we've got, and the story brings in a lot of those sort of real myths and legends, and it's it's sort of it's almost as though the story did really take place, but we've just got these snippets of information, and and they've become like legends now, but actually they were demons. And the reason why they didn't run rampant is because Duke and Jellicoe were sorting them out. So
that's awesome. Yeah, and that's so cool to bring like real life, not real life, but like legendary bad guys, and then let your characters kind of have to deal with them, because people know kind of the rules that follow these bad guys. But to see your characters and how they would act around them and how basically they tackle those is interesting to me.
Also, with the ones that we've got there, like Punch and Judy for you guys, and we've got some others coming in. Not many more. There won't be many more.
Like poor Duke.
You'll be able to research them, and they are real myths and legends that probably people don't even know. So, but they are gruesome myths and legends that are just dying to be put in my head and completely fucked up.
Great. I'm looking forward to that. I want that. Yes. Bring us more of that, please. That's the kind of stuff that I like to read. So, but I think the same thing too. Like if you look at my characters and you look at how I name them, you would find so much more. There's another level to it. So I'm so excited to find another kind of project out there that's similar to mine, where it's like I, as a in-depth reader, can find more levels. You know.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted to do it so that people will, if we get to chapter 4, and I've got to tell you that
when.
Oh, it will happen. That'll be one every year. So we've got 4 years span of getting it done. But when we get there and that finishes, if people want more, then I'll write more.
Oh, that was another question I had. Is there a distinct ending? Can it be ongoing? Will you do maybe like one-shots or spin-offs of characters?
I'm currently writing a Punch and Judy origin story. So this is how Punch became a demon.
Interesting.
So I've been asked to do that. But yeah, so that would be probably a shorter, like a comic, black and white. Not the in-depth run of London Gothic, all full colour and all the effects, but more along the lines of a black and white, moody, dark comic. Other characters, people, as they go along, I've already been asked what origins, the Duke's got and Jellicoe and things like that. We touch on little bits and pieces in there, but I think as it goes on, people will say, we need to know more. So if they want it, I'll write it. With me, it's getting the time to write it.
Yeah. But that's so great to like be able to listen to what your fans want and to basically give it to them. You know what I mean? It's encouraging that you listen, that you have your ear to the ground, I guess, to listen to what the people are asking for and be able to give them that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, when I wrote this, honestly, it was, I mean, I like I say, I was never a writer. I've never written anything, and it wasn't intended. It was just to give people enjoyment and a bit of a laugh if they read it. And it was basically to give them a bit of a shock and a laugh. And I didn't think it would really go anywhere. It was more of a personal thing that I could leave to my kids and go, look, at least I've left you something. There's my story that I've told you about all these years, because I used to frighten them when they was kids with different stories as well. So they know all the characters, and I just wanted them to be something there for them, and then realised, we could get this out there. And honestly, I'm blown away, because the worst thing you think of is people are going to go, cool, this is a load of shit.
Yep.
And we've not had one person say it. It's just everybody, and they're not only saying it's good, they come back to us and they want to know more. They want, what's happening with this character? What's happening with that character?
I want to know more.
So
know more people come to this Kickstarter page and find out more. Right? Look. I mean, I want to know more. I want to know what's happening in these scenes right here. Of course, I've already read chapter 1, so I know. But this to me, I'm like, oh, I need to know. So I'm sure everybody here is with me. Go if you haven't had a chance to get chapter 1, get that catch-up tier. Absolutely, because you're going to want to get the history behind these characters before you get to this chapter 2. Amazing. It's an amazing story. Please go support Indie. Go support London Gothic chapter 2. Do it right now while we're here. So that way, we can get them moving. They want to see that stretch goal fulfilled. I do. So 100%, let's go back this. Can you tell everybody where they can find you? Website, social media, so we can make sure everybody who's interested can get on board.
Go on, you do that, Nick. I always mess it up.
So you can go, there's a Kickstarter campaign for chapter 2 there. We're also got a website where you can pre-order chapter 2 on there. So if you don't want to do Kickstarter, you can do it on there. You just won't get the rewards. And that's london-gothic.co.uk. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I know the Twitter one is at London Gothic. For the life of me, I don't know the others because I don't run them. My missus does. I've got enough time.
I think they're all at London Gothic.
I think they're all mainly at London, but if you put London Gothic in there, you'll find it. And that's about it, really. We've got a mailing list on the website now. So if anyone, we started to do these mailers now. I've learned how to do them. I'm not very good on computers. So Mike tends to sort of get me out of the pup because I'll just say, I want to do a mailer. How do I do it? And then he finds out how to do it. And I'll just put the writing in and he does the rest. So we're updating people all the time with the mailers. So it's if you want to sign up to the mailing list, we don't bombard people. We do one every sort of 3 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah.
And we tend to put like a sneak preview, like a page preview in the mailer, so you get something a little bit extra. If you're chomping at the bit, you might get to see a bit more art than everybody else. So.
And on the website, you can view the first 20 pages free of chapter 1 as well.
I posted the link in here a couple times in the chat, so people, it's very easy to access. Click on this short link; it'll take you right to London Gothic's campaign page. Walk around, do your browsing at your own speed, and then pick which one you like and back it today. So yeah, absolutely. I wanted to thank you guys for coming on. I had a blast. Thank you for letting me pick your brain, Nick, about all the things that could possibly happen in London Gothic.
It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you very much. It's
really appreciate it.
And you guys are welcome back anytime. And I look forward to seeing how your campaign ends, everybody. They got 2 weeks left. Let's get the word out. Share. If you can't, that's one of the biggest things. If you can't support financially because times are tough, we always appreciate a share. Social media algorithms love to stop links from progressing when it's a campaign link or something that leads to an outside website. It'll kind of like hide that social media post. So the way that we beat that is we share each other's stuff. So we help support indie and help support other creators, so that way the word gets out, because what we do is it's hard. If it wasn't, everybody would do it, right?
Definitely.
So thank you for everybody who has supported London Gothic. Thank you everybody who has supported Path of the Pale Rider. I'm going to play some commercials, and we will see you all next week with another episode of the Tuesday Morning Brew. Any last words before I cut you off?
No, thank you all, and God bless you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had a really good time. Thank you for having us.
Great. I'm so glad. All right, I'll see you guys soon. And thank you all for watching as always. And remember, if you haven't been on the Path of Pale Rider campaign, I still got a lot of, well, not a lot. I have 3 left of those surprise rewards. And trust me, you won't be disappointed. So I'll talk to you soon, and be awesome to each other.
She's done without your will for the problems that you made. You're the name of justice, the Paragon legions all around you. Different things you cannot change, and the darkness that's inside you.
Hey friends, Morgan Quaid here to tell you about a little project called The Crimson Folly, a D&D inspired comic anthology which takes place in a fantasy tavern called, you guessed it, The Crimson Folly. I'm working with more than a dozen artists from all over the world to bring this story to life through sequential comic artwork, intricate portrait pieces, sketches, and of course, words! My aim is to produce a combined comic story and art book. The first 40 pages will be a comic book telling the main story of the Folly and using different artists to build out each section of the story. The art book will then contain sketches and short stories relating to characters from that story. So if you're a fan of D&D, fantasy artwork, comics, or just great storytelling, you'll love The Crimson Folly. Yes, you will.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.